We're Laura and Cindy, and you're listening to the Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry podcast, where we talk about natural horsekeeping and deepening your connection with your horse. I'm Laura, your horse care mentor. I teach natural horse management practices after working with over 200 horses and seeing how current industry standards are compromising the health of the horse.
And I'm Cindy, your horsemanship mentor, offering a proven and unique approach to creating deep connections with your horses from 20 plus years of experience, including working with wild Mustangs. If you enjoy this conversation, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to us so we can get this podcast into the ears of more passionate horse people.
So it is January 4th, and Cindy and I just sat down and reviewed last year's first of the year episode. And we looked at the goals and the intentions that we set for last year. And we had a pretty good laugh because in we all just experienced the year of the snake, which was just incredible shedding and releasing and changing and pivots and hardness and goodness and so much change all wrapped up into one. Cindy and I's, all of our horses are living in completely different places than they were a year ago. Neither one of us had that on our radar, really.
Mm-mm.
Like Cindy was starting to think of maybe a slow move in the next couple of years. All of our goals that we set last year were around riding. Neither one of us did much riding in 2025. But at the same time, we're both sitting here feeling grounded and centered and ready for the year of the fire horse and positioned entirely differently, but correctly, we feel as of today, for what is to come in the future.
Listening to you talk and thinking about a year ago, and the thought entered my mind, like, what if we had known back then that this was the year of the snake and shedding and letting go of old that no longer can sustain us? Would our list of goals had changed? And then, the next thought was, it's exactly the way that it was supposed to go. You
Yeah.
know, we weren't supposed to know. What kind of bracing would we have had? Like a horse getting ready to, when you put the halter on and they see the syringe and the bracing that they go through. I think for me personally, without a doubt, I would have had some bracing. And one of the things that I've learned over this last year that was painful to really admit in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I see how it has served me all of my life. But I would have tried to control the entire shedding of the snake because I like to control things. It makes me feel safe because of, having a pretty out of control childhood. But in hindsight, in seeing how many times I've tried to change things in this last year that were completely out of my control, and how the universe like stops dead in its track like a horse going over a puddle. And no matter how much you kick and push and move those feet and turn around and go back and try to reapproach, it ain't happening. And that has been a lot of what I experienced in 2025 through my entire life, uprooting by the deepest root. And now I'm trying to find with intention the soil in which I will plant my seeds.
Wow. And listen to just how much less concrete that is than Katniss and Harry and I are going to ride 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Rocky and I are going to hit the trails every Sunday.
Yeah, no, that the dust storm that hit my life.
But it's like, that's just not realistic unless your life is in a very specific place. Those kind of goals are not realistic unless, before I had Sophie and when I worked for myself and set my own hours, so I was childless and in charge of my own work schedule completely. I could say I'm going to ride 4 times a week, and realistically, I always made it 2 or 3. But I mean, having no one, I mean, even child free, but also like no adult parents to care for, the most demanding thing in my life was my horse and my business. And I just did those 2 things. And there was magic and wonderfulness in that. But for most people in the season of life they're in, that's completely unrealistic. And we set the goals that way anyway. And then we feel bad about ourselves when it's not realistic. My reality right now is I'm lucky if twice a month on a weekend I get to go out and ride the lake trails with MJ. And I'm super lucky that she's in a place in her fitness where I can do a 5 or 6 mile ride and she is sound and happy and comfortable and has no problem off of it. And that is possible because of the management changes that I made in 2025 that I had no plans on making.
It was a dream,
It was a
actually.
dream.
It
It
was
was
a
a dream.
dream. Mm-hmm.
But never did I see it coming the way it did or when it did. And it's like, oh, if I want to be out there trimming horses 5 or 6 days a week, that's what I need to be able to do if I want to be able to ride my horse.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in 2026, I'm chasing feelings and very non measurable, non seeable things
How will you know if you've reached them or if you're on the right path?
because I'm feeling at peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like relaxing into what the year of the fire horse brings me. And the word fire in that has me under no illusions that it's going to be particularly relaxed.
They talk about it being empowering, and especially, since you've shed that skin and all that stuff that you wanted to and stuff you didn't know you needed to. But they say it's going to be empowering, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be joyful and pleasurable all the time. It's going to be intense.
Yeah.
And I think having just shed all of the stuff, shed the old, I think that's the easiest way to say it, is shedding all that old, being vulnerable in one hand, and light and free to move forward in a direction that perhaps either you want to or you're meant to be. And when you let go of the reins, the speed of the fire horse may be faster than we want, expect, and could take our breath away.
Yeah.
And being able to, when I think about shedding the old, there's a lot of limiting belief patterns and behaviors and triggers and things that I'm letting go of. And yet I'm in that space where I don't know really what that reveals. I mean, I know that I want to be authentic, and I know that I want to have inner peace, and I know that I want to be true to myself, and I know that I want to be in service to others. But what emotional strengths do I now have or have the opportunity to say yes to without all the baggage? Because we could very easily put on the same kind of skin.
Mm-hmm.
We could very easily say no to the horse and keep it stalled. So it's an interesting in between. The old is no longer, but the new is still not yet here. And we're standing in that space of pure choice and opportunity. Can we choose authentically, carefully, but not cautiously? Ready to unlock true freedom with your horse? Join Unbridled Freedom, our private Facebook group for women on a spiritual journey in horsemanship. We don't fix our horses, we transform ourselves. This is your space to embrace challenges, celebrate victories, and deepen your bond with your horse. If you're ready to lead with wisdom, compassion, and inner peace, join us today. Let's dance with our horses as one. The link is in the show notes below.
That's such a huge piece for me because, like, I think the big thing that I shed in 25 was saying no to myself. I was raised by boomer parents who delayed gratification, worked their butts off until they were 55 and retired with their house paid off, an excellent retirement, and lived comfortably because they did life A plus B equals C and it worked. Because back then it worked.
The American
The
dream.
American dream. And the American dream is not a reality in today's world. But I was raised so, and not that it was wrong, not that they were bad parents, that they saw what worked for them and they wanted what was good for me. But I just have really come into contact of like how deeply it's seated to stay exactly where you are and do not make any changes if it's working. But is working enough, or do I want it to be really awesome? And yeah, maybe renting property for my horse it's not as secure as owning the property.
I'm here to say amen to that.
But Cindy has said over and over and over again, does she regret the 11 years she had on her rental property? Especially when the other option was not a good one? I had no better option, and then it was like, here, you can have this temporary space, and maybe I can relax and give myself permission to be happy and fulfilled in a temporary space. And that is okay. Maybe I can give myself permission to not work a marketing job that I hate and to instead take the chance and make the leap. And yes, that might mean that you make no money for a year, and that's terrifying. But look at the potential that's on the other side. And I think just in the learning to give myself permission, positioning for the fire horse, it's looking like little one's going to have to go into full-time daycare by summer. And suddenly, that's going to open up some hours for me. So maybe next year at this time, I will be saying, I'm riding 5 times a week and it's amazing because I set up my clients so that I end right next to her and then bam, go on a ride. Maybe that will happen. I'm not going to push and force that to happen. And that feels like such a more empowered, free, realistic way to set a goal. My main goal is I just want to spend time with my horse and enjoy her and continue helping people with their horses as much as I can while listening to what the year of the fire horse and the universe has to say about that in each moment. And if it looks completely differently in a year, that's how it was meant to be.
Goal setting, I would have to enlist Dr. Google to answer this question if I really wanted to answer it. But I'm pondering it. And the ponder is, how long has New Year's Eve goal setting and resolutions been an active thing in humanity? That's my first question. It's been all my life. Oh, what's your goals for the year? What's your New Year's resolution, right? Talk
Yeah,
about pressure right out of the freaking gate, right?
right.
You just spend a
Right.
whole bunch of money, spend time with family you're supposed to love when you all fight. Nowadays, we're all on our phones, so we don't have to fight. And then we can walk away saying, oh, that was great. There was no fighting, right? Because there was no connection. But that's a whole nother story. Back to pondering this whole New Year's goal setting. And what does that look like for Laura and I right now? Well, she just stated, what it looks like for her. And for me, I have my desires. Um, I'm not really feeling like I want to fall into the goal setting trap.
Yeah, that's super fair.
What I really feel like is I want to learn what it feels like to have shed that skin.
Mm.
I mean, I have an idea. I have a great idea of a lot of things I've shed. But what I want to do before I rush into anything else is I want to feel like, okay, so who am I now?
Yeah.
What feels important to me now? Because I was sharing with Laura earlier, I'm a horsemanship coach and I love helping women and their horses. I love it and I'm good at it. And where I'm at right now is realizing the depth of the transformation that I'm going through, and it's all within my inner tapestry, my psyche, my triggers, my trauma, all these things, and sharing that on my Facebook platform. I have had, Laura and I have been together for 5 years. In the last month, I have had more people click that follow
Mm-hmm.
and more people comment and share my post. I can literally say it has grown 3,000%
Wow.
in what it was from 20 to 24 to mid 25. And I asked myself, why? This has been the biggest shit show of my life, right? And it's because part of what I've shed is the identities,
Mm-hmm.
the outer expectations, the performances, the how it's supposed to look. And I'm showing up authentically and messy and wise and vulnerable and humble and probably a whole other part of that bouquet that I'm not mentioning. And so part of not wanting to set any goals is I'm still kind of learning about me. Who am I without all that baggage, without all that skin? That never really felt comfortable anyway. Get honest, how did that skin really feel now that it's shedding? How did it really feel? And there comes those three awarenesses, or the number one awareness, awareness of self. Everybody in my posts that I've been sharing, everybody, hands down, universally, feel different.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like the person they're looking at in the mirror is a new person that they don't truly know. So, for the beginning of this year, I just want to get used to this new me. And, I guess honestly, learn to become best friends.
Mm.
You know, like I've got your back. I can't tell you how many times it's been revealed to me in this last week or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks since I lost my mom. Um, how many times I have witnessed myself abandoning myself, jumping ship. Peace out. You do this on your own, you know? And for some that might sound weird, right? Abandoning ourselves. What does that look like?
Ooh,
Maybe
for
that
me,
won't
it
help.
looks like overcommitting and saying yes to things I shouldn't all the time.
Right,
All the
right.
time. I noticed you not doing that on whatever day we were originally scheduled to record this because I was like, I had a huge list of things I wanted to have fun with the family and everything, but I was like, okay, we had a scheduling snafu, all strategy things around. And I said, I'm free for the rest of the day if you have time. And you're like, I'm meditating and being intentional. And I was like, that's effing awesome. Good for
And,
you.
and how many times do you start thinking about everybody else's story because you don't want to look at your own?
Yeah.
That's abandoning yourself. How often do you sit down to eat or sleep or check out in texting and all those things? That's abandoning yourself. So for me, it's about recognizing what makes me want to abandon myself,
Yeah.
And it's so crazy, Laura, because everything these days is from the horse's eyes.
Hmm.
If I was a horse, I'd be doing this. I mean, you heard me do it several times just in this podcast, because they are my biggest mirrors and my teachers right now. And what I'm learning is that the way I'm going to show up beside my fire horse, I wanted to say on, I want to ride that sucker, right? Because I just want to ride. I literally last year, I think I rode 5 times, maybe. So part of me wants to get on a ride, but the real part of me wants to walk beside it. And can I hold its presence? Can I hold the fire? Can I not abandon myself in this new opportunity of empowerment that who knows? Who knows, right? Because the world's kind of crazy. But right now, my horses are my greatest teachers, my mirrors, and my support team.
Mhm.
So what I really want, really, really in my heart desire this year is for us to find our forever ranch and for all of us to be home together, moving forward with more intention, more authenticity, vulnerability, and to not abandon myself.
It's beautiful.
Yep, that's it for me.
You know, it's so interesting. You read Chop Wood, Carry Water last year or 2 years ago. Doesn't matter. You read it in the past. I just
Mhm.
read it. And I'm like, oh, I'm in my chop wood, carry water phase. Pick up hoof, balance hoof. Me and my rasp. So boring. So freaking awesome. And it's the same thing that you're saying about your inner work is like, I'm committing to mastery of knowing and loving myself. I'm committing to mastery of being able to pick up a foot and balance it every single time efficiently while honoring the horse. And it's like it's not big, it's not fancy, it's not special. It's I chop wood, carry water, and I'm gonna F it up a bajillion times and then I'm gonna drop in and get better. And then it's gonna that cycle is gonna happen again and again and again and again and again.
I want you to go back and listen to that. And actually, I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to encourage all of our listeners to listen to what Laura just said about picking up the hoof, balancing, rasping, putting it back down, picking it up. That right there, yes, get water, chop wood thing. But there's a lot of personal mirroring in that. That's not just her mastering her trade. That's her mastering self.
It is. Like, this is what I've wanted to do my whole life. It took me a little extra time to figure it out. This is what lights my soul on fire. Call me crazy. Fixing a horse's hoof angles lights my soul on fire. I drive away from appointments on the highest high of all highs because the horses thank me in their energetic bodies, and I know they feel better. And last year, I gave myself permission to do that, literally reading the transcript from last year's episode. The day after we recorded the episode, I interviewed for school. So I still hadn't even picked up anybody's feet except MJ's yet at that point.
Yeah. And look at how you ended it.
Yeah, and I'm still leaving hooves in ways that I wish I was better. Like my eyes are still so much better than my hands. But every horse is better off for me having shown up.
That's beautiful.
And I hope my eyes are always better than my hands because that means I'm getting better all the time.
Mhm.
And so I guess, yeah, the year of the fire horse is about committing to what lights our soul on fire. Before we hit record on this podcast, Cindy was like, I want to help women feel safe and grounded and present and amazing in their nervous systems.
For me, it's all about the nervous system in the horse and the human.
And that is essentially, you can't get to know yourself as a best friend if you're not there.
If you're leaving, if
Like
you're
if you're
bailing.
leaving, yes.
You know what's been super funny? The more that I've really started paying attention to my nervous system and recognizing where I'm at any given moment and when I've left myself, when I've abandoned myself, I am picking like your eyes are getting better with the hoofs, right? I am noticing in conversations with random people and people I know, and watching people with their horses and watching horses, the nervous system is just like beginning to be the easiest thing for me to read,
Hmm.
which I knew it intrigued me back in 2018. Well, actually, it intrigued me in 2017 when Martin Black and Dr. Stephen Peters wrote Evidence-Based Horsemanship. It intrigued me. But it took me until 2018 that I actually sat down and read the book about 5 times and highlighted it and meant multiple colored highlights throughout the following years. But for the last 2 or 3 years, it's really been what I've been starving for is to understand, and recognizing and learning that our emotional body, our emotions, and our nervous system are so directly, I mean, they are connected. You can't have one without the other. You can't operate in one without the other coming along for the ride. And how they actually run the ship of horse and human.
They do.
And
And and
nobody
and
understands them.
they're also the key to the connection between horse and human. Like we know this scientifically because of the heart math research.
Right.
And your horse can slow or speed up their heart rate and match yours and help yours trend down.
right? But
Like, to me, it's the center of the physical, spiritual, mental, emotional being.
yeah, the heart center. It's crazy. So yeah, that's what lights me up. That's where I see everything transitioning, moving forward. And I 2025 was a ride. Um, and I could not have survived that ride any time sooner than it came. I know that for sure. I know that the divine has a plan for us, and we truly do not get more than we can handle. Um, but I could not move forward with my passion and my dreams and wanting to help horses and women in that deep and vulnerable and so empowering at the same time way had I not gone through what I have just gone through over this past year. I couldn't even call in my dream ranch, really truly embody it and cherish it till the day I die, doing the work I love, had I not just gone through the shit show I went through called 2025. So I'm anxious to meet the fire horse. Not
Yeah,
anxious, not anxious, ready.
yeah. No, I felt that as like excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just some little reminders if you've made it this far in this episode. The Year of the Fire Horse has not even started yet. It starts in February.
17.
The calendar year is made up. We are still in the darkness of winter. I really like dreaming, intending, like restructuring. Like for me, this period of like the returning of the light, January, first half of February, is about like shedding the final bits of the year previous, but not pushing and doing yet. We are still in the deep, dark rest of winter. So, this is not an episode saying write down your goals and go hit it. It's saying feel into your heart. And, if this conversation brought up some stuff for you and you had some pings and pops, journal on that for a little bit. See where it brings you. Spend time in the darkness of yourself and your desires and what you want out of the year of the fire horse. You are not behind if you are not going to the gym 5 days a week right now. Allow it to unfold. And when that energy of spring comes in and suddenly you can't wait to be out until 8 p.m. and the sun goes down on your ride because you're having so much fun, that's when it's happening.
And I just want to add, the pressure we put on ourselves is unreal.
It's unreal.
And Laura's letting us all know where we are is exactly where we're supposed to be. We're not behind. We're not doing it wrong. The shaming and blaming and guilt game is a trap. And what I love about Laura and I is this is a little processing out loud, guys, is how far she and I have come in this past year because we laughed at the fact that we didn't meet, let's be honest,
Yeah,
our very simple goals.
very simple, right?
Which actually shows you how we were beginning that transition then, right? Maybe intuitively we had a little knowing of the shedding of the snake year, right? Because we didn't set those lofty, we're going to grow our business, we're going to grow our podcast, we're going to da da da, right? We set some pretty selfish, self-satisfying, what brings us joy goals,
Yeah,
and we missed the mark and we laughed about it.
yeah,
And I hope that if you, like she said, have made it this far through this podcast, look at your goals you set at the beginning of 2025 and can you laugh about it? And if they're still super important to you, then maybe they become part of 2026.
and how can you go after them in a way that feels good to you today, not a way that you quote unquote should?
Yes.
Like, how can you get creative around what you want? Like, we both still want horse properties. We both
Yep.
still want to grow our businesses. Actually, my business did grow and it wasn't on the list. And that's like something I'm holding in intense gratitude for right now and realizing I don't need to focus on growing my business. I need to focus on chop wood, carry water, balance hoof.
Because you know what? When she said that wasn't even on my list, sometimes the goals that we put on our list and the mindset in which we are going to approach them can become like the leaf or the feather on the top of our pristine, clean water trough.
Mm.
And that leaf has got to go. I'm going to get it. And it just, every time you almost get that pinch, your fingers pinch on that leaf or that feather, poof, it like gets power and avoids you. So sometimes being hyper focused on our goals push them farther away.
And it puts us in this place of like seeking and searching and forcing that often we just focus on the wrong thing to get there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Laura set out to get accepted into this hoof care program and spend the year learning the program. And what she got out of it is she's gotten a full freaking calendar.
As a part-time mom, part-time trimmer, I'm fairly strapped at the moment, which is amazing. And when I fall into these incredible moments of, how am I going to keep all these plates balancing? And then I set back and go, I'm going to keep all the plates balancing just like I did yesterday and the day before, and I'm going to end the day smiling
Yep. That right there
right now.
is the perfect example of not abandoning yourself, not leaving home, which is truly in your heart. That's it right there, what she said. So if you have any questions about the topics covered in this episode, send us a message on our Facebook page, Holistic Horsemanship and Husbandry, and we will answer your question in a post on our page. You will be anonymous. We'll just take the question and provide our input, and we want to do it on the post so that we can all learn and grow together, because nobody knows everything. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. We want to remind you that we'll be here every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, following the golden rule. Have a plan, but always be willing to be flexible. Don't forget to connect with us using the links in the show notes below.
If you learned something new today, had an aha, or walked away with a valuable nugget, you can say thanks by leaving us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on.